The stuff that I encountered in childhood doesn't have to affect me later on in life. I never really found one that I fully got along with. I think with therapy, that's the clicker. You got to find someone that's really good, that you get along with, that you're comfortable talking to.
Yo, at some point, you got to just man up and like fix the problem. I think we need a little more toxic masculinity.
Really? Okay, toxic in what way though?
In like, don't be a simp.
I think it's okay to process your emotions and be sad about something rather than just, oh, it doesn't bother me at all, I'm gonna stuff it all down, just go, because that's equally not as healthy.
Love bombing works? I thought love bombing did the opposite. It's what the simps do, and then the boys, but apparently now the boys are adopting the love bombing behaviors. I don't understand what's going on.
Full ego. They're just egomaniacs. You try to have a conversation with them and you can't. There's nothing there. Then they may have started out not as attractive and they took the steps to make the manifestation work for them. You have to also put in work for the universe to reward you. Women are still valuable with age. They're still able to be something or become someone even if they're older.
Welcome to Unattainable. Glad to have you with us. I'm your host, Zach Evans, and thank you to all of our listeners. We have been really blowing up with the followers and engagement recently. We had a couple of clips go viral. We couldn't do that without you guys, so thank you so much for that. Today, we got a special guest, Elle, on the podcast.
Hello.
Elle, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, tell people where you're from, what do you do, and star sign. Let's do star sign.
Star sign?
Yes.
All right. So my full name is Gabriella Tanner, but I go by Elle. I just moved here from Austin, Texas, and I do modeling as well as creative direction and fashion design. Those are my two big ones I'm moving into right now. And then my star sign, I'm a Taurus. What are you?
Ooh, I get along well with Taurus.
Really? Okay.
You're like my best friends.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey.
I'm a Pisces.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
I know you're thinking. I used to be toxic.
You used to be, not anymore.
Recovering boy, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
See,
now I'm very shy and romantic.
Yeah, okay. See, my issue with Pisces is you guys are very emotional.
See, I'm a Leo rising.
Oh, okay,
so it
me
doesn't
too.
really apply to me.
Wait, no, I'm not. Leo, Moon, Capricorn rising.
Ooh, Capricorn rising?
Yes.
Capricorns are the toxic ones. We
Really?
gotta watch out for. Yeah.
Whoops. Maybe that's why I'm not in a relationship right now.
Would you consider yourself a toxic person?
No. I mean, I'm sure I'd had tendencies to be toxic in the past. Just like you said, you got over being toxic. I've been more on a spiritual journey for myself. I got really into psychedelics and opening my third eye and all that kind of stuff. So I've been very aware of myself lately, trying to be more coherent about what I'm doing and what toxic behaviors I might have.
And what did you find out?
Well,
what are your toxic behaviors?
Well, I grew up in a very bad childhood, and I dealt with a lot of fears of rejection. But I kind of just had to let that go because my parents have nothing to do with everyone else I meet in my life. So that was a big eye-opener. Okay, like the stuff that I encountered in childhood doesn't have to affect me later on in life. And that was a big thing. That was a big eye-opener for me, is reliving parts of my childhood and going, oh, okay, I see how it's affecting me later on in life, and how can I switch that? How can I switch that perspective?
And did you go to therapy for that, or did you just figure it out?
I
just
tried.
do a bunch of mushrooms and.
Well, I tried therapy. I tried a few therapists. I never really found one that I fully got along with. I think with therapy, that's the clicker. You got to find someone that's really good, that you get along with, that you're comfortable talking to. Otherwise, I feel like the conversations I'm having, I should be having with a friend, like my best friend, not me paying hundreds of dollars to go to this random stranger's place for me to tell them all my deepest secrets. I never really got that part of therapy, but I did have to do therapy when I was younger, and then I took advantage of therapy in school, like free programs and all that kind of stuff. But really what did it for me was the mushrooms, was the psychedelics.
Interesting. Just healed your inner child.
Yeah. I mean, there is a such thing as mushroom therapy, though. Returning veterans, they have mushroom therapy for them as well.
See, here's my thing. Okay. And this is a guy's perspective. Mm-hmm. I think therapy can be good for girls. I don't know what it's like to be a girl. You guys literally have more hormones. Your emotions are stronger. You feel things more stronger than guys. And I'm a Pisces, so I feel probably super strong. But I feel like there's actually too much therapy for guys.
Too much? What do you mean by too much?
Like, there's like, oh, we need more mental health awareness. I'm like, no, I think we have too much mental health awareness. Like, okay, I get it. Like you're saying, if you went to war, you're like in Vietnam, and like you come back like my grandpa, and you like had all the like your best friend dies in front of you. Like, okay, I get you have PTSD, you need therapy for that, right?
Yeah.
But most of the guys I know that go to therapy nowadays are like, yeah, like my mom was mean to me when I was little. Like not even abusive, just like mean to me, or like my girlfriend broke up with me, or like I don't fit in, and I'm like, yo, at some point you gotta just man up and like fix the problem, you know?
Fair enough. I feel like that terminology though, man up, can't apply to particularly everyone though, because these friends, I mean, let's say they really are super emotional on the inside and they're just not letting you know that. So I feel like in certain cases, someone to talk to can be very beneficial for anyone. And I know that there's this whole like toxic masculinity thing going on. So maybe that's why they're dipping their toes into therapy. Okay, well, what's going on with my emotions? Am I a toxic masculine or what, you know?
That's the thing. I think we need a little more toxic masculinity.
Really? Okay, toxic in what way though?
In like, don't be a simp.
Okay.
Like don't like okay, let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
Because like this all sounds great in theory land on like, oh yeah, everybody should be emotional, in touch with their feelings, blah blah. Let's say you're dating a guy, right?
Yeah.
Actually, let's say you're married to a guy. Let's up the ante, right? He comes home from work one day. He's like, Elle, I just got laid off from my job, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then he just starts bawling his eyes out. Babe, what are we going to do? We have a daughter to feed. We have bills to pay. What are we going to do? Right? The next day you come home from work. He's sitting on the couch drinking wine out the bottle. Fucking watching reruns of Love is Blind. Oh, my babe, my boss is so unfair. Wah, wah. Do you want that guy? Or do you want the guy that's like, babe, I just got laid off. I'm upset. I'm going to take my emotions. I'm going to stuff them deep down in my psyche. I'm going to man up and I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. We're going to start that business we've always dreamed of. I'm going to make 10 times what I made at my old job. Then we're going to buy the house next to my former boss. And I'm going to flip him off when I drive my Lamborghini next to him every day. Like, do you want that guy? You know what I'm saying?
Both of those sound like opposite extremes. And I would prefer something a little in the middle. Like, I think it's okay to process your emotions and be sad about something rather than just, oh, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm going to stuff it all down and just go, 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 go. Because that's equally not as healthy. You get me? Whereas, like, no, I wouldn't want the guy that is just, like, bawling his eyes out, sitting on the couch, drinking a whole bottle of wine, like, only in his emotion. I would rather prefer, like, okay, process the emotion. Now let's move forward. And you know, that's still more in a healthy manner versus straight toxic.
I just feel like there's a lot of things that I feel like girls say they like that involves like very like kind of like simpy behavior. Whether it's crying in front of a girl, whether it's like being like overly nice, like too many compliments. I got you flowers on the second date, something like that. That girls say they want, but then I feel whenever I do that in real life, it's like they like it in the moment, but then they like slowly kind of lose respect for me. It changes the dynamic. And that's why like when I went from my like simp days to like my extreme boy villain era, I kind of like got rid of all this behavior, and now I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. The more simping I see that I really dislike is when a guy is simping and enabling a girl's toxic behavior. Like her being the toxic one and him simping for that. That I think is equally as toxic. But that's the only part where I'm like simping. Yeah, I actually do see your simping as well, where it's like overly gift giving, overly flowers. Then that's just too much. To me, that feels like you're desperate. Like
I agree.
Like you feel like you have no other option, and then that's an ick for me. Not really as like I see this guy as simping. It's like an ick, like he's desperate.
Because it makes it seem like, oh, none of these other girls must want him because he's like trying really hard for me. Like he must have no other options. I must be just like bottom of the barrel. Like, oh, I guess I'll go for her. You know, please. Exactly. Yeah.
That, or it makes me think, okay, well, what's he hiding? Like, what other?
It's interesting you say that.
What's gonna pop up? What bad tendencies does he have that he's hiding right now that are going to come up later, you know? Like, oh, I brought you all these flowers just to hit you 2 months later. You know what I mean? Like becoming abusive later on. That tends to be the thing that happens with the guys that love bomb in the beginning.
That love bombing is so confusing to me.
It is.
Because, okay, when I was deep in my villain era, right? It's like, that's the opposite of what you would do to get a girl to like you. Like, to get a girl to like you, you'd kind of like be too cool. You kind of like be a little bit of an asshole. Like the guys who would love bomb, like, oh my God, here's some flowers. Say I love you on the second date, like all that shit. The girls, it would be like the biggest ick for girls. But nowadays I'm hearing girls say like love bombing. I'm like, love bombing works? I thought love bombing did the opposite. It's what the simps do. And then the boys, but apparently now the boys are adopting the love bombing behaviors. I don't understand what's going on.
See, I'm equally as confused as you because I have girlfriends that will fall for the love bombing, and I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. Because I know that their behavior and what they're doing, but I think where we are right now is there's just a lot of women who do not know their worth at all. So when a guy comes in with all those flowers and all that love bombing, they're like, oh my God, yes. Oh, you do love me? I am worthy, just like how I was mentioning earlier. I had fears of rejection. So do a lot of these girls. So, oh, this guy is giving me all this love. This guy is giving me all this attention. Yes, yes, yes. So that's what they're falling for. That little push saying in them, oh, this person loves me and does care about me, when in reality they probably don't care or love about them at all.
And does it, for love bombing to work, does it have to be like a super attractive guy? Because I'm just picturing like a guy coming up, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Like, here, I give you flowers. Here, like, you're the most beautiful person in the world. And I'm just seeing girls get like icked out. Unless maybe it's like, okay, he's 6'5" and like looks like a Bowflex machine, then I'm like, okay, maybe.
Who's doing that though? What 6'5" guy like bulked up is doing that, is love bombing?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who's love bombing, because I just can't picture it working in my head. And I have pretty good social intuition. I can see like someone could tell me like a story about what they said to a girl. I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny. I could see that working. It made her laugh. Or, oh, this is like kind of like toxic, but okay, I could see how that could work. Love bombing, I can't even picture it working. Like, it's so bizarre to me.
Because it's all in their head. It really is a psychological thing. It has nothing to do with how attractive these people are whatsoever. In fact, the relationship that I see some of my most beautiful girlfriends getting in, they're not cute guys whatsoever. It's just the love bombing that's working. It's just the words and the psychological effect that it's having on them. The attractive guys, they know they're attractive. They don't need to go out and buy you a bunch of flowers and constantly tell you that they love you, because they're equally on that spectrum of, oh, if I have to do that with you, then it's not worth it. I could move on to the next, basically.
So let me ask you this, because it is interesting. Let me know if you've noticed, because you're in the modeling industry. Yeah? So I used to throw events in the modeling industry. We'd do photo shoots, get a bunch of sponsors, that kind of thing. So I have a lot of friends who are models, and I've met models who are 18 all the way up to like 34, 35, kind of getting out of the industry. And I've noticed typically the like 18, 19, 20-year-old models are always dating like the hot guy. Like, we call it the hot guy phase. They're always dating the TikTok hair and the dangly earring, like 6'5".
Yeah.
But the most beautiful girls, when they're like 22, 23, 24, it's like they're always dating these like average looking dudes. It just looks like some dude who'd like fucking fix my HVAC system. But then he also like owns like a multi-million-dollar company, or he's like super charismatic, or he's like very well established, usually a little bit older.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like, for whatever reason, girls get bored of the hot guy phase and then they go for more of the substance play. I
think that's truly because those guys are just full ego. Like, and there's nothing else there. Like,
full ego?
Full ego. They're just egomaniacs. You try to have a conversation with them and you can't. There's nothing there. Like, they're just pretty boys. And that's kind of where I'm getting now too, where I'm like, okay, like, you can have a pretty boy, but I want substance, like, I want a genuine like, conversation.
Now I want a pretty man.
Right. Yes. But those don't exist that often. Like, being intelligent and being attractive, yes, happens quite often, but I don't really find that in TikTok era where all these 20-year-olds have dangly earrings and Justin Bieber hair. Like, they're not in it for intelligence at all whatsoever.
Well, you know what the problem is?
What is the problem?
The reason it's so hard to get both is if you grow up really attractive, you always get... If you're a guy and you grow up like super hot, like I was like a late bloomer guy, and I'm like average looking, but like guys who grow up super hot, they're already getting girls just because they're super hot. Same with girls. The hot girls are getting the guys. They never have to develop a personality.
Exactly. And they've been enabled.
Yeah, it's like the guys who like got shit on in high school. They're like, fuck this shit. I'm going to show all you fuckers what it takes to be a fucking man. I'm going to be rich and fucking successful. And they have the motivation to actually do shit. Yeah. So you got to find someone who used to be fat and then they got skinny. That's the key to find like...
That really is.
The glow up type of people.
It is. I've noticed that, to be honest. When I speak to people and I like figure out more about their past, it really is those people that came up from nothing in high school and they had that drive. Whereas like before, with our TikTok men. I think they've been enabled from a very young age to stay that way because they know that they will always have a girl around the corner waiting on them.
Mm-hmm. But the ironic thing is, once the TikTokers, I mean, if there's actual successful TikToker, okay, they're going to be good for a long time.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys are just hot, never develop a work ethic, and same for girls, never develop a work ethic, never develop a career, never develop a skill set, and then like, okay, now you're hitting 30, 31, those looks aren't the same, but now you have nothing else.
Yeah.
And you have to start from the bottom, and it's like you're not used to starting from the bottom because you're used to getting everything for free.
Yeah.
It's like manifestation, right? This is what I tell people. You're not going to want to hear it, but it's true. Manifestation only works for hot girls.
Okay.
I've seen hot girls manifest the craziest shit. They'd be like, Tulum, Tulum. They're in Tulum. Private jet. Boom, they're in a private jet. But if you're an ugly person and you try to be like, $1 million, $1 million, the universe is just going to make you get a job. It's going to be like, better go work doubles at the dirt factory just to make ends meet because you're not getting any airdrops from the universe if you're ugly, you know?
I don't know about that. I feel like...
I can prove it.
You can prove it? How?
I've never seen an ugly girl on a private jet. Ever. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Like, it's like Sasquatch. Like, I've heard, like, the legends. Like, maybe Sasquatch exists. Is that a picture of Sasquatch or a tree? I don't know. On a private jet, maybe there exists ugly people on private jets. I've just never seen it. Every time it's like a hot girl like taking a story on a private jet.
Can I ask you a question though? Do some of those girls look like they've had a lot of work done to look that good?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Then they may have started out not as attractive and they took the steps to make the manifestation work for them, you know?
See, okay, so that's interesting. So do you consider manifestation like the universe gives you something or you have to like work for your manifestation?
I think it's equally both. Like you have to also put in work for the universe to reward you, basically. You can't just like sit on your ass in your room thinking to yourself, oh, I want this without not doing anything whatsoever. Like you still have to do some steps in order to make the dream happen.
Okay, so let's say I want to manifest a trip to Europe, right?
Okay.
So I'm sitting in my room, Europe. I'm like visualizing Europe. I'm picturing myself being in Europe already, right? And then I go on my laptop. I go Google flights to Europe, and then I put in my credit card, and then I fly to Europe. Do you consider that manifestation, or is that just me buying a flight to Europe?
That's just you buying a flight to Europe. See, if I wanted to manifest a trip to Europe, I would do what you did, Google it, right? But I would just take a screenshot, like a picture of the ticket. I didn't buy it. Like I never physically bought it. I would put it on a vision board, right? Okay. And then I would go about my life, having conversations, start to talk to people. Oh, I want to go to Europe. And then you start seeing the little connections take place. Oh, you want to go to Europe? My friends are going here. We're going to do this. Do you want to come along? Oh, this person's paying for everything. And then you just start seeing everything click together. And it all started just because you had that first idea, that original idea. Okay. And then you took the steps to talk about it and start networking about it. And then boom, all of a sudden now you have this free trip to Europe that you never even thought was possible. But yeah, it might take a little time for it to show up versus me going, oh, I want to go to Europe. Let me just log on to Google right now and buy a ticket. That's a little faster than manifestation. But I do think manifestation does work. Okay,
but you said a key thing in the string of not going to Europe to going to Europe. It was like, blah, blah, blah. You do the ticket, you vision board. And then blah, blah, blah. And at one point, oh, this guy's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Manifestation only works for hot girls. Because
the
guy is not paying for me to go on the trip.
I've
never met a guy that, Zach, come on the trip. I'll pay for everything.
What if it was like a birthday trip, though? You've never had someone be like, we're going to do a birthday trip. Tickets are on me. You guys just come out. You've never had that happen?
I've had people like pay for my dinner on my birthday or something like that. But no, I've never had like a trip paid for.
Well, maybe it's a little different for guys versus girls.
I think it is. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, here's how I manifest. Like, let's say I want a private jet. I want to go on a private jet as a guy. How I would manifest it is I would go private jet. And then I would wake up at 6 a.m. the next 25 years of my life, sacrifice my marriage, sacrifice my relationships, work. Third marriage in, finally my business is successful enough that I go on a private jet, right? Yeah. Whereas girls, it's more like, put it on your vision board and then DM a guy like, hey, like, you're rich, I'm hot, like, can my friend come too? Like, that's like, it's just so much easier.
Well, yeah, that's not really manifestation either, though, because I feel like similar thing is just going on and buying the ticket. That would be directly going to someone where you know they would buy you a ticket.
Yeah.
Mine is still like my original situation was still a situation where it was like by word of mouth or by connecting with other people.
I see. So was that a real example that you gave? Or
no,
what's
I've
a
never
real
been
example
to Europe.
of you manifesting?
I feel like this was a real example of me manifesting. I mean, even if not a vision, then writing it down. Like me writing, I want to start a podcast 2 days before I get a random DM. Come on our podcast. Even though I've never been on a podcast before in my entire life, I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. This is going to be a great opportunity for me to even see if I like doing podcasts, if I can even sit down and talk for long enough for a podcast.
I think you can. I think you have podcast chops.
Podcast potential. Yeah.
You have interesting stuff to say. You know?
Yeah. How long have you been doing podcasts for?
Well, my buddy Mo started it actually years ago. And then he quit because his girlfriend got mad at him for like interviewing girls on his podcast.
Oh.
And then he randomly, I was like hitting him up because I just got this place. And I was like, yo, like I have this office that like we don't use. I'm going to turn it into a podcast studio. Like, do you have any tips? You used to do a podcast. He was like, dude, let's just revamp Unattainable and like start it back up. So then we kind of started back up.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I like talking about dating, relationships, LA life. It's like I talk about this shit with my friends anyway. Like, this guy's a sugar daddy. Isn't that crazy? The OnlyFans scene, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
What's your take on the whole sugar daddy scene, by the way?
I have not seen the sugar daddy scene out here. So,
Are you blind?
Well, I'm in
Anaheim. All over the place.
I'm in Anaheim. You know what I do see?
Yeah, you're in Anaheim. That's true. What do you see?
The girls standing on the corner waiting for the cars to pull up. Those aren't really sugar daddies, though. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's a next step further. Although I will say it is a little bit interesting because I'm from Wisconsin. Wisconsin, sugar daddy scene doesn't exist. The girls aren't hot enough and the guys are too broke. Like, there's no sugar daddy scene, right? Come here, I see it all the time. I have so many friends with sugar daddies. A lot of them are very open about it. And the weird part was I would always assume that sugar daddies were like always old, pathetic guys who can't get laid, so they just pay girls, right? And I met this girl. She's like, Zach, that's not how it is. Like, if you're actually in the scene. And this girl, she has like 4 sugar. Like, she has this one buys purses for me. This sugar daddy takes me on trips. This sugar daddy pays my rent.
She's got it figured out.
Yeah, she has like all the infinity stones. You know what I mean? Like, she has like all the sugar daddy infinity stones. And she said, Zach, a lot of these guys are young, attractive. And then she goes, this is what confused me.
Young and attractive?
Yeah, like not young, but like maybe mid-30s, like someone that a lot of girls would date anyway, you know?
All right.
But let me ask you this. And she goes, Zach, have you ever paid for a girl's dinner? I'm like, yeah, of course. She's like, all right. So you paid for something for a girl in the hopes that it would turn into a romantic relationship at some point. She goes, Zach, you're a sugar daddy. You're just a Walmart brand sugar daddy. And I was like, normally, because I'm smarter than her, I could like find a good response to that, but it bothered me because I couldn't. Yeah. I was like, I don't have a good reason why logically buying dinner for a girl is any different than buying a purse for a girl. It's just like how much money you spend, I guess. But a lot of dinners are like just as expensive as purses.
That is true. Yeah. I mean, I've had that realization before too, that everything monetary in terms of relationships is just a hopeful exchange for sex, essentially. But I don't know. I guess I haven't like been around LA enough to physically see people out and about like sugar daddies. Because in Texas, I feel like people were very hush hush about it. Like if you had a sugar daddy, you didn't go out on the town basically, or like even the sugar daddies didn't want to be known as sugar daddies. Like they were very hush hush about it too. If that makes sense. But it sounds like out here everyone's open about it, like even the guys. But that to me, if they're younger and attractive, that sounds like they just like spending money on women. And there are some guys like that genuinely like spending money on women.
Well, I asked one of them because I met one of them in real life.
Oh, you did?
Normal dude. Not like amazing looking, but like decent looking, not fat or anything like that. And I was like, yo, you could get girls. Like, you're like, why do you pay for girls? He's like, yo, I don't have time. He literally said like this. He made me feel like stupid. He was like, Zach, I've owned a business. I don't have time to be on Tinder, swipe left, swipe right. Hey, like, do you like hiking? He's like, I don't got time for that bullshit. Like, I'd rather just pay a girl. You come out to dinner with me. We have fun. Like, let's see if we connect. If we do, great. There's no flakes. There's no bullshit. There's no she's blah, blah, blah. Like all this stuff that you deal with all these online dating apps. You're just like, it's easy. It just like makes my life more convenient.
That's
and I was
very
like,
true.
That's actually a good point.
A lot of them, though, don't want a relationship.
Yeah.
They want like a situational shit because of that whole busy attitude. Like, I'm too busy for an actual relationship. But that doesn't make sense because they're technically still having to sit down and message someone or message a few people to figure out who they like.
Yeah.
So they're still taking time out of their day to swipe through people.
But I'm sure it's easier because I used to be on those apps. It is so overwhelming. You're just like message, check Hinge, message.
Oh yeah, I'm on Hinge right now.
Check fucking this one. Oh, my Instagram DM. It's like, you're on Hinge right now?
Yeah, I downloaded Hinge when I moved out here.
Why are you on the ghetto one?
The ghetto one? What's not the ghetto one?
Raya.
I don't think I've...
Christian Mingle. Where you really can find your soulmate. Duh.
You know what? I think that's the one. I should get on Christian Mingle.
You're from Texas, I think.
That does not mean that I am a Bible thumper from the Bible Belt. Okay. Yes. Unfortunately. But Hinge, yeah, it's been interesting. I got bored with it. Now I just screenshot like the weirdest things men send me.
I'll put in the group chat with all the other girls and make fun of just trash.
They have their own album on my camera roll.
As they should. Have you ever been catfished?
No. In fact, I feel like people think I'm trying to catfish more than I've been catfished. Like,
do you use Facetune a lot?
No, I don't. But if I give my number, like in the chat, they'll immediately try to FaceTime me. It's weird.
They're like, wait, look, okay. I've been around the block in LA. I can spot Facetune like a pro. Like if I or Facetune, FaceApp, any of them, I can see it. It's like a certain lighting in their face, and I'm like, Facetune. All right, let me go to your tag photos to look, figure out what you really look like. You have to like do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I never get catfish. I did get lifestyle catfish one time.
Lifestyle? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, lifestyle.
What's lifestyle catfish?
So, okay, this was like early COVID.
Okay.
Back when like everybody was blowing up on TikTok. Like you're a girl, you posted your picture walking in a dress, boom, 1 million followers. Like, so I was dating this girl, 1 million plus followers. If you go on her Instagram stories, she's on yachts, private jets, free trips, mansions, Lambo, everything like that, right? But every time we hung out, she'd always come to my place, which is normal. Usually girls come to my place. But I'm like, yo, you drive from the valley every time we hang out. Like, I can come to you. I can drive through traffic once in a while. She's like, nah, it's okay. I'll come to your place. I was like, that's weird. So one time I finally go to her place, right? And she's like deep in the valley. It's like, have you seen the movie The Lion King?
Yeah.
So you know when Mufasa's with Simba on Pride Rock? He's like, Simba.
Everything the light touches is your kingdom.
And then he's like, those dark shadow areas, never go there. It's dangerous. There's crackhead hyenas. Like, never
Did you go there?
She lived in the fucking shadows. Like, there's like bars over the windows everywhere. There's like feral children scurrying around in the sewers. Like, it was sketch as fuck. So then she takes me into her house. And I'm like, yeah, give me the tour. And she opens his door. And I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty solid, like, walk-in closet. She's like, no, this is my room. I look down. There's just, like, a mattress on the ground. Like, no fitted sheet, just, like, a flat sheet over. I can go like this. I can touch both of the walls. But the worst part, this is the craziest part. You're not going to believe this. We started watching Hulu on, like, her laptop because she doesn't have a TV. She had Hulu with advertisements. I was like, you were on a private jet yesterday. You have Hulu with advertisements? I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
The last straw for you, huh? The Hulu with advertisements.
Yeah.
So what was she doing then? Was she a sugar baby? Was that what was happening?
No, I think she just, was really into, promoter scene and this guy's paying for this trip. And I don't think she was hooking up with these guys. Like a lot of rich guys, like, oh, I got a yacht. I'm just going to invite like 12 girls on my yacht and just like have my friends on it and we can post stories, get all the clout, blah, blah, blah. I think it was one of those things.
Interesting.
Yeah. But again, that's why I think like I have very good privilege, right? White, straight male. I'm like here. And I'm a Pisces, so I'm like up here. there's only one thing that beats me. Hot girl privilege.
Okay.
Hot girl privilege is the most powerful, like, fucking form of privilege in the universe. Like, nothing beats it. But it only lasts, like, 10 years. So it's like you got to, like, you know, make do with what you got.
Fair enough. When do you think hot girl privilege ends?
I think it depends on your ethnicity and how well you take care of yourself. For most white girls, if you don't take care of yourself, you expire very early. By the way, I'm not saying in a bad way. Like, I'm white too. Like, I'm going to look like fucking Emperor Palpatine in 5 years, you know? So, like, it's the same with me. So, like, white girls, it could be at as early as, like, 27, 28 if you don't, like, take care of yourself and, like, drink a lot of water, sleep. If you're, like, Asian or Latina, you got another, like, 5 years on top, you know? If you're black, probably another, like, 5 years on top of that. It's just kind of is what it is.
Hot girl privilege. I don't know. That's such an interesting topic. I don't really... See, when I was living in Austin, I had really attractive friends, and I would see it. When we would go out, we would get into bars for free, get drinks for free. I mean, just the club promoters would just let us in, give us drinks. And I think it was just, like, the ambiance. Like, just to have attractive girls in the room.
Do you know how the whole system works?
No.
Essentially, clubs in LA, big clubs, they figured out, hey, instead of, like, making money from people buying drinks at the bars, we make way more money if a guy buys a table for, like, $5,000, which is usually like a mid table in some of these clubs in LA. So the key to getting guys to buy tables was having a lot of pretty girls around. So they hire promoters. Promoters bring a bunch of pretty girls. They get drink for free. And then the guys buy the tables and then the clubs make money. That's basically how the system works.
Okay. Yeah. So they're not losing money. They're making money, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, depends on the club. But
that's true.
That's true. At least the idea is they're making money.
Yeah.
So.
No, but the idea that it expires, I don't know. I feel like youth, like young beauty will expire at a certain point when you become older. But I feel like women are still valuable with age. Like they're still able to be something or become someone even if they're older. Whereas I feel like the whole idea of them, or like with pretty privilege of you aging out, I feel like that gives some women the idea that, oh, okay, well, once I'm 28 or 27, that's it for me. Like, I'm worthless.
What more so is to me is like, okay, if you're in your 20s and you're a hot girl, but you're working, you're figuring out the real estate market, you work in a job, you're at a desk, you're developing a skill set, then okay, you turn 28, 29, even if your looks dry up at that age, whatever, whether you take care of yourself or not, maybe that's the age your looks dry up. Okay, now you have a career. You spent the last 10 years of your life building a skill set. You have a lot of value. But a lot of girls don't do that. They just party. But the problem is they're so used to this lifestyle of yachts and Lambos that now it's like, oh, you have no skills built up.
It's devastating.
You have to start at square one as a intern. And most people aren't willing to do that. So then it's like, good luck. Like, you're kind of like, either you marry a rich guy or you buckle down. But like, most girls just like find a rich guy, which can be good, but it's just tough to find because a lot of rich guys, they're going to go younger. You know, it's like they have the options. It is. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it is what it is. That,
and what I've noticed with like a lot more like wealthier men is, like I was saying earlier, they tend to be more on a situationship rather than wanting a real relationship because they're too busy.
Also, just like the truth is, like, I think guys are biologically wired to want a lot of girls. It is what it is. And if you're rich, you have the option for that. If you're not, unless you're really good looking or extremely charismatic or something else, you just don't have that many options for girls. So then you just lock down a girl, you get married, blah, 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 blah. Not that rich guys can't find true love, but...
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think guys are more wired to want to be with more than one woman?
It's based on evolutionary psychology. So for our genes to like propagate, back in the day when we're like cavemen or whatever, right?
Yeah.
If I have sex with like 50 different girls, great, there's 50 more humans that have a chance of survival. And then because I had sex with so many girls, then like my genes are the one that are replicating and propagating. Yeah. Whereas if you're a girl, you can only have one child every 9 months.
That's true, yeah.
So like biologically you're wired, hey, I don't care about having sex with 100 different guys. I want to have sex with one guy and make sure he's the type of guy who sticks around and helps provide for me, helps protect me. Because in those days, it's like you could get a lion attacking you from out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you still think we're in a time where we need mass reproduction, though?
No, but I think that our brains are still wired that way. And emotionally, it makes us want it. Even though we have contraception, we have ways you can have sex without getting a girl pregnant, like pretty easily nowadays. But I think we're still emotionally wired to want that.
Yeah. You don't think guys could emotionally change their perspective?
I think they can like force themselves to if they wanted to.
If there's too much chemical stuff going on in the brain.
But I don't know. I don't think you can actually change it because you can't change what you're attracted to.
That's true.
You could maybe like stifle your urges and what you want and then like settle down with one girl. Like I think that could happen. Because like I'm thinking of myself and like I've definitely done like the fuckboy side. But like I do enjoy being in a relationship.
Yeah. So
if it's a girl who's really cool.
Where would you say you are now? Are you like a polyamorous person?
Right now, the way I look at relationships is like I never want to force anything. And I love my life being single. So like to me, my single life is like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm like pretty young. I make good money. I live in West Hollywood. Being single is really fucking fun. I have great friends. You know what I mean? So a girl that's really good could take me from an 8 out of 10 to like a 10 out of 10 in terms of happiness.
That's true, yeah.
But she could also take me from an 8 out of 10 to like a 2 out of 10.
That's true.
So it's like I would only want to date a girl seriously if she's like really the right one for me and none of these, not big red flags, and she's really like ride or die and blah, 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 like everything else.
If you found that one though, do you still think you would have urges every now and then? Like if you saw someone,
every now and then I would for sure.
Yeah.
But I would be like, no, it's not worth it because I found somebody who's really good for me.
So you would be able to suppress it at that point?
For sure.
Okay.
I have great willpower, yeah.
Okay. So that's what it is. Willpower. Men don't have willpower?
Well, I mean, I think it's more so guys choose not to have willpower.
That's true, yeah.
But also realize the fuckboys that you probably think of because they're really good at getting girls and they're good at making girls like them is like probably 5% of the population.
Yeah.
Most dudes would be very happy in a relationship with like a girl like you, pretty girl, you know what I mean? But you probably don't even look at them because they're like working at Chipotle behind the fucking thing and like you wouldn't even give them the time of day. But what are most of your exes fuckboys? Are most of them simps?
I've only been in one relationship.
Interesting.
And this was in high school, so it's been a minute. And then
that almost doesn't count. High school is like, it's like a whole nother world.
And then I like was sort of seeing this one guy when I was in college for a while. He's actually the one that like introduced me to mushrooms and all that. And that kind of ended badly. He was more controlling, and that's when I opened my eyes more to, okay, who am I picking and why?
Well, how was he controlling? In what way?
He would just call me names a lot and make me feel like I was the problem or the issue. Even if I was never trying to start an argument or trying to be rude about something, or if something bothered me, I would literally try as calmly as possible to bring it up because I knew it would cause some sort of disruption. Bringing up anything that he was doing wrong or out of place was an issue, even if it was genuinely hurting my feelings or whatever. I was always the problem and it wasn't okay to have a problem. But after that, I started seeing this one guy that was more of another situationship that lasted quite a while. And I met him off of Tinder.
Classy.
And so this is actually a crazy story because this ended a few months, like right when I moved out here, so about 5 months ago. And so I met him on Tinder and we went out to our first date. On his profile, it said he was 24 and I was 20 when we met. And we met in person. He looked a little older, and so I was asking him, like, oh, what's your age? And he was like, oh, I'm 27. I was like, okay. And so anyway, like, life goes on, right? Now he's supposed to be 31, 30 years later. I'm out here visiting him, and he starts this conversation because he has a friend coming into town. He goes, by the way, my friend is older. And I was like, okay, like, what do you mean? He was like, he's in his 40s and, I'm older too. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, I don't think you actually know how old I am. And I was like, okay. He was like, remember when I told you I was like 31? And he said, I'm actually 41.
Damn, 10 years?
Yeah. So
was he passable at 31, or the whole time you're like,
he was passable at 31. I mean, he was Middle Eastern, so he had barely any grays, barely any wrinkles. Like, he looked young.
Middle Eastern guys age very slowly.
Yeah. And even when he told me that, I was like, well, you look great. Like, and he was like, yeah, people tell me I look young often, but that was shocking to me. I think I sat there and disassociated for like 15 minutes because I was mind blown, like that long to be that dishonest about your age. That was shocking to me. Why? Do men lie about their age often?
Well, I think on Tinder, they do because they like you set your preferences. So probably some girls are like, oh, I date 22 to like 32, like wouldn't even match with somebody. Definitely there is also some like, yeah, you don't want to be seen as older because like younger is considered better or whatever. But then it kind of doesn't make sense because number one, for guys, it doesn't matter that much. It's like as long as you're like rich and funny, like you'll be fine. Also, it matters to me more like what the person looks like.
Yeah.
Like if I met a girl and she's like usually I date like 22 to 26 is kind of my main age range that I date. But if a girl's like 29 but she looks super hot, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're 29, well, your age, like based on my calculations, oh, this is not going to work. Like I don't give a fuck, like you're hot, you know?
Yeah. I get that, like online, but in person, to still be dishonest in person, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I've heard
I agree.
I've heard that before too, where men will set their age lower because it will show them more women that are within that age range versus if they were to put their real age, they're going to see more women within their age range. Like if he were to actually put that he was, 31 at the time or 39, it would have been, 37. Yeah. If you would have put that, he would have been shown more women in their 30s or late 20s. And so I've been told that a lot of guys will do that for that reason. But to continue the lie in person, that's a little odd. I feel like it's still appropriate in person to be like, oh, yeah, this is what my profile says, but I am actually this age. Just so there's that consent there. And like...
Or like when you're talking, at some point bring it up like, yo, I know I said I was 31, I'm actually 41.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just don't go on Tinder. Why the fuck are you
I know. Well, okay.
I live in Anaheim. There's probably nowhere to go. Like
I'm not on Tinder anymore. That's why I got on Hinge, but apparently that one's ghetto too.
All the same people from Tinder create a Hinge It's all the same. People act like Hinge is like more classy. Like Hinge is the same shit as Tinder. The only one that's different is like Raya because you have to like get invited. You have to like apply. You can't just go on.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Or like, I guess you could try like Match.com or something.
I don't know that I'm like
that old
dating right now seriously though.
I see. I'm
kind of just like living life, taking screenshots of what these people are saying to me and laughing at it, and that's the end of it. I see, I don't know if I want to join something that people are looking at me a little more seriously because I don't want to break anyone's heart, like, oh my god, what if I get a chance with her and I'm over there like, no dude, not a chance whatsoever.
So you're just focusing on your modeling and stuff.
I'm focusing on me, on my career, what I want to do with it next, and all that big stuff.
How are you enjoying the modeling scene in LA so far?
It's been a process getting into the commercial side. That's what I really want to get into, as well as back into acting. That's what I initially did when I was living out here prior. But right now it's just networking. And I feel like that's what it mainly is networking, getting to know people and who you know, getting with the right management, getting with the right jobs and all that kind of stuff. It's been very interesting. I never thought I would get into modeling. I got into it during COVID. I was going to school for family sciences, and I was going to take that and get into a physician assistant program. So then COVID hit, and I was working 2 jobs to support myself in college, and lost those 2 jobs because COVID shut everything down. Yeah. And I had a friend who was in the modeling scene, and she was having either photographers pay her hourly, or the photographers would have connections with brands and they would need models, so they would be able to find models that way. And so I was like, okay, like that's how the connections are working. And I just started shooting with one photographer, and that kind of blew up. Then the next and the next and the next.
Yeah, then people find you from his page, they DM you.
Yeah.
It's like a cycle. Yeah. And you do mostly like fashion, runway, swimsuit, everything?
I'm all over the place, honestly. I think editorial's my favorite because I do love the creative direction of it. So as much as I'm in front of the camera, I also like being behind it. So I love conceptualizing and coming up with the location and fashion design and coming up with the styling, makeup, hair, all of that. I love it all. And so when it comes to those types of productions, I'm okay with taking a step back and not being the person in the actual image. And that's kind of where I'm at now, is building that portfolio as well, of like, okay, how does my mind work versus how do I look in front of the camera? But that has also been a process of building that portfolio, because I've just been doing modeling for so long. I haven't had the chance to share, okay, these are what my ideas look like. And I've been on so many shoots that now I know how they work, like what the lighting setups look like and what backdrops to use and what numbers are on the little code things. And so I've been learning as I've been shooting as well, behind the scenes. I feel like I'm also like, when I do workshops as a model, I feel like I'm also learning as a photographer.
Yeah, remind me after the show. I should connect you with some people. Actually, I wish I would have known you like a couple weeks ago. We went to the this party in Beverly Hills that was all like people in the fashion world.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it ended up being kind of a lot of drama that night.
You got into drama?
Well, it wasn't my fault.
Oh, okay.
Basically, okay, so I have two groups of friends. That I go with that are girls, right? There's like the fashion runway models, tall, very skinny, very classy, usually like 5'9", 5'10". There's like that group. I met them all through my ex, right? And then there's like the other group, which is like the Instagram / some of them do OnlyFans type models.
Influencer type
and
model.
It's like, they're all like kind of like shorter, but just this like ragtag group of kids. And they're so fucking fun. Like a little bit ghetto, but like so fun, right?
Yeah.
And I never mix the groups because they kind of clash like oil and water, right? Like the fashion models kind of have this air like, oh, we're better than you because we're runway models. We're the real models. You guys are just Instagram models, right? And the Instagram models are like, we actually make money. Like, we have OnlyFans. We're fucking rich. You guys are broke. Like, they're kind of like that.
It's unfortunate. Yeah, a lot of runway models go into debt before they start making money.
A lot of them go into debt and stay in debt. It's crazy. Like, it is what it's literally like making the NBA. Like, it's very difficult to do.
Yeah, I'm not up there. I'm 5'7", so I've done some runway that are more inclusive.
In the middle. Yeah.
But I was taken advantage of every time I would do a runway. They would never pay me, ever. They never pay ever. Shit, yeah. And so I was like, this isn't worth it, because the commercial stuff, they pay $2,000 a day. And that's like, that's way more than, this is for exposure. That's it. That's all we're going to give you. Like, no, it's okay. Yeah. That's what a lot of runway shows are, though. I feel like they're profiting off of all these artists, and these artists are so eager to be on the runway, they don't realize that they're being used.
But at the same time, like, I agree with you, but at the same time, it's like, the reality is it's just supply and demand. There's so many runway models desperate to make it. There's not a lot of spots for paid runway models, so it's like, they can get models for free. They're going to do it. It is what it is,
I mean, I get it. It's all about business. I get it. Trust me. And I'm sure a lot of those people don't have the money to pay the models either, because let's be honest, fashion is a rich kid sport. Like,
it's like, I mean, unless you're like Gucci or Louis Vuitton, like, your brand's probably not making much money.
Yeah, exactly. And so I understand. Yeah.
Actually, at the Beverly Hills party we went to, there was like, a lot of brands, and I'm like introducing my friends to them, obviously, but like kind of in the back of my head, I'm like, I know they don't got any money. Like, I want them to be successful. I want to introduce them to friends. I'm like, I just know there's not going to be anything here.
Yeah. It's really all about branding and putting yourself out there and building up enough of a platform or a base to sell your items. I think that's what it is, what it's about now.
That's why a lot of the Instagram models, like, they do like Fashion Over or something, they get paid. Like, you have 500,000 followers, like, you're getting a lot of money for that. Like, I don't know, I know it's gone downhill recently. In terms of, because like there's a lot of fake followers and blah blah blah. So like, it's hard to say, but like, a lot of those girls are making good money.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But they hated the fucking fashion. Oh my god. Actually, that's a funny story. So, have you noticed the rift between the OnlyFans and the fashion girls?
Yes.
Okay, so you noticed it too. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so we're at this party, we're all having fun. All of a sudden, this is when it starts to get strange. Security comes up, and he's like, "Yo, Zach, like, there's two guys outside. They're like using your name to get in, but they're not on the list." I'm like, that's weird, because like all the guys that I invited are already inside, So I go outside. There's like the big mob of people by the door trying to get in. And then off to the side, there's these two dudes. One of them's like 6'5", fucking ripped, like walking Bowflex creatine guy, right? And the other dude's this like short, round, like bald guy. And he's dressed like a meme. Like he has like the Terminator sunglasses. He has like I call them the Gucci pajamas, where it's like Gucci, 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 and then like the matching pants. You know what I mean? Like it looks like a onesie pajamas. And I go up, I'm like, yo, why are you using my name to get in? And he's like, oh, I'm Ashley's boyfriend. And I'm like, that's weird because Ashley only dates like she's one of the fashion models. It's always like NBA players, like super tall, good looking. So I call Ashley. I'm like, Ashley, who the fuck is this guy? What the fuck? She's like, I know, I'm sorry. He's my boyfriend. I wanted him to get in. Well, here's what happened. I was like, Ashley, just tell me beforehand. Don't try to finesse me by having him use the name at the door, blah, blah, blah. I'll let him in, but I need you to be honest with me. This guy's not your fucking boy. Is this your sugar daddy? There was a long fucking pause. And then she goes, no, he's my benefactor. I'm like, okay, he's your sugar daddy. Got it. Just tell me that next time, right? So then I let him in. And I told her, I was like, look, Ashley, all the guys you date are like NBA players. This guy looks like a fucking bowling ball stacked on top of an exercise ball with two shoes at the bottom. There's no way. I knew it wasn't her boyfriend, you know? So they go in. Bowling ball guy starts taking shots, like just throwing back shots.
Yeah.
And then he just starts getting drunk. Actually, ironically, he's kind of acting like a bowling ball. He's like running into people, like knocking over the pins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he starts trying to flirt with one of the OnlyFans girls that's there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she's just rejecting him. And then at one point he goes, I could probably buy your pussy for $1,000. And I was like, all right, you're crossing the line, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know you. I don't care who you're friends with. Like, I was like, you need to leave. But creatine comes up. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, bro, you're seeing your boy. He's acting out of pocket. Like, I don't want to get security involved. I don't want to make a scene. The best thing you can do is just like take your boy and leave. Yeah. And he's like, okay. So they fucking leave. Then 30 minutes later, fucking Ashley shows up. She's like, Zach, where's my boyfriend? I'm like, yo, I kicked him out like 30 minutes ago. He didn't text you? She's like, no, I didn't know. So then instead of blaming her boyfriend for it, she has like rocks in her brains or something. And she blames the OnlyFans model for like making him upset. And then she starts talking shit with the fashion models and they are getting into it. And now apparently in the fashion model group chat, they're referring to the OnlyFans girls as those ratchet hoes. And I'm just dealing with the fucking aftermath of it.
Oh, okay.
So it's been, I'm never in the drama. I'm always like drama adjacent. I'm like the fucking moderator. I'm like the therapist.
Yeah. No, I feel the same. I'm very much anti-drama. I'm very to myself, interpersonal. Even in...
Remind me of like Billie Eilish or something.
Really?
Like your personality.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. More darker, edgy.
Yeah. Kind of like introvert, but like...
Yeah. No, I get it. I feel it. I'm here for it. But I mean, I would kind of go to parties like that, and it was very similar in Austin too. And it would be like the OnlyFans girls, fashion girls. But they would never really get angry at each other like that. That sounds more like jealousy. And I wouldn't expect that, especially jealousy over a guy that looks like that, you know?
Yeah, like definitely wasn't like a good looking guy. Yeah. And apparently the guy was his bodyguard, the creatine guy. Apparently he was like part of like some like Saudi oil cartel bullshit.
He had his own bodyguard? Wow, okay. And acts like that. That's what I seen often though. It's like all these really wealthy men were so like secluded. They have no social skills whatsoever at all. Because
they never had to. They just, this person, okay, we'll bring you some more people that are going to like you because you're rich. And it is what it is.
And I can't do it. I don't have the personality. I don't have kiss ass in me. I really don't. As much as I'm a genuine person, but if you're going to be mean to me, I can't keep a smile on my face, if that makes sense. Like if he were to say, I bet I could buy your pussy for $1,000, like I'm not just gonna stand there with my mouth open. Like I would say something back, but knowing someone with that amount of money, it would probably piss him off even more.
Yeah, because he's not used to getting treated. He's used to just saying whatever the fuck he wants. You like put him in his place.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is your type then in terms of guys?
Like I said, I'm still just so focused on me. I haven't had the chance to sit down and think about it, but definitely someone who is successful, intelligent, who knows what they want and who they are. That's really attractive to me. I don't like the people that are working at Chipotle or McDonald's and burgers. Like, I don't know what your future looks like. And I'm not sure I want to stick around to know what your future looks like. So I like the guys that are already established, for sure.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Some girls say, yeah, I don't care about a guy with money. I want a guy who's ambitious, right? And I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Because I know so many guys in LA, especially LA, where everybody's kind of bullshitting, that are so convinced that this business idea they have, this crypto app, this cannabis company is going to be the next big thing. And then it doesn't work. And then they hop to the next one and the next one. I'm like, you're not actually like starting a business. You're just like have these ideas. You try to like get investors to give you their money, but you don't actually have a real business concept.
Exactly.
And then these guys that talk a big game, like you kind of realize, yeah, you're kind of full of shit. You're not really going to do anything with your life.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like that's how a lot of men are. They talk a big game, but they aren't actually anywhere.
Oh, for sure. Because guys realize, especially in LA, it's like, oh, I could work really hard. Or I could just lie to people.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of guys just like, why the f would I work hard? Like, I'm just going to lie to people.
Exactly. You know? And one thing I dislike is dishonesty. So that's why I'm saying they got to already be established. I already got to know everything about you.
But it's crazy because so many girls are so easily like tricked by it.
Oh, I don't. I'm telling you, I've seen it and it blows my mind too.
I've heard girls so many times tell me, oh, Zach, I just met this guy. He's like Drake's manager. And I'm like,
are you sure?
Google. One Google search. Like, it takes me like 5 seconds. I'm like, that's not Drake's manager. It doesn't even look like him. The fuck are you talking about? You know? But they believe shit. I'm like, why?
Oh, I know.
Want to hear the craziest one?
Yes.
Okay, so this girl, she was telling me about this new guy she's dating. You know, she's kind of bragging about him. It's this videographer.
Okay.
She's like, oh, he has 500,000 followers. I'm like, okay, bet. I'm like looking at his videos. I'm like, yeah, they're like okay, but like
not 500,000.
Yeah. So then I look at his first post. I click into it. It's like 3 likes, like 7 comments. I click into his next post. It's like 21 comments and like 4 likes. And I'm like, yo, these guys' followers are obviously fake.
They're all nameless, faceless.
Yeah. They're all like private accounts, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, and she's like, oh my God, I didn't even know. But the crazy part is literally like a week later, I overhear her talking to one of her friends. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm dating this videographer. He has 500,000 followers. I'm like, you know they're fake. Like, what do you mean? Like, you know they're fake. You don't even care. It's like you still get like the clout of saying 500,000 followers, blah, 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 blah. And you just don't even care. So it's crazy.
I feel like that's how a lot of people are, though. It's a clout thing. Especially with Instagram, I've noticed that a lot. Yeah. Because I've worked with photographers that will have a bigger number, and I've noticed that the bigger number they have, the bigger ego they have.
I can see that.
I almost dislike working with photographers that have a high number because they're not that great of people ever.
Yeah. Because they always have everybody wanting to work with them. They never have to like do anything.
Yes, exactly. But I haven't really met anyone yet that has had like a fake clout, if that makes sense. Yeah. Usually they align pretty well with their work. But I've had to spot that out too. Just as like a model with people reaching out to me often, I want to make sure who I'm actually working with is legit, you know, not some guy.
'Cause there's so much bullshit.
Exactly. Not some guy trying to steal me or run off with me.
All right, cool. So we are at about an hour, kind of wrapping up. We do one last final question that we're taking a poll. If you meet a guy, he texts you, and it's a green bubble. Is that a positive, a negative, or is it neutral?
I'd say it's pretty neutral for me. I don't really care about phones as much. Like the whole iPhone craze. Yeah. I feel like I used to have... So I have, what is it, iPhone 14 or... Yeah, iPhone this, whatever that is. And before that, I had an 8. And people would make fun of me all the time. They're like, if you leave your phone somewhere at a party, no one would steal it.
You're in no danger of getting your phone stolen. Trust me.
But that's the type of person I am. I keep something until it breaks, until it stops working. So, I mean, if it's working and I can text you or call you when need be, then I really don't care. iPhone, Android, whatever.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
Definitely we'll have to have you on round 2 sometime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Why don't, is there anything you want to shout out, your Instagram or anything where people can find you?
Sure. My Instagram is @Gabriella.Tanner.
Awesome. Well, it's been fun, and I'll let you know about next time.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, take care, everybody.
Bye.